Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. As every month, I've taken some time to reflect on June of 2023, and I've come up with the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, the things that we did last month that we should keep doing, the things that we did last month that we shouldn't be doing and that we need to improve, and the ugly is basically everything that shouldn't be happening at all. It's just a more stoic version of what we need to improve. All right, let's go. So the good, we're having, as we have multiple projects running at the same time, we now have finally reached a stage where we have solid momentum on all fronts, so on all these projects, and we're shipping updates every day. Before that, I was splitting my time, implementing a lot of things myself, and splitting my time between two projects, and kind of splitting the week in half. And I think that was really a major slowdown, just because the cost that the context switching has on top of the limited amount of time that I can put in was definitely a huge bottleneck. So it's great to see that we're shipping a lot of stuff every day across multiple projects. We do have a constant stream of leads for one of those projects that is actually already having paid customers and is having users. So that's great. I will go into more detail in the bad section, because it's not all great. And then the last point. So we partner with Paralect, which is a venture studio, to basically work on these projects together. And I have transitioned more into a management slash entrepreneurial role, managing and kind of setting the vision for these projects, and not necessarily implementing a lot myself, which has obviously helped here with the first point. And it's more on like scaling my knowledge and just transitioning more into these higher leverage positions, which I think is what we were aiming for since the start, but it just hasn't panned out so far. So it's finally getting to a stage where these long-term games that I've been playing in the background are starting to play off. All the partnerships and all the digging in the background, and I think that's great. All right, the bad. So what do we have to improve? So with SwiftBrief, even though we have 4 or 5 signups every day, people are not converting. They're using the tool. They've been using it for free. People are using the free trial. People come in and create 4 or 5 different accounts to use free trials. So they're getting creative, but they're not paying anything. So we're clearly doing something right. We're just not able to attract the right kind of user that's willing to also pay us for our product. So that's definitely something we need to tackle. Systems are breaking, are not ready to scale. So with Paralect, we've onboarded two new developers at the same time. Before that, we did 1 new developer. And while that's great, it's obviously kind of shown me where things are lacking in terms of documentation, processes, systems, etc. So there's, although we thought we were prepared, we're not. So just things to fix as we go, as usual. And then the last point is a bit more of a long-term item. So we started building products and we only did freelance or agency work to kind of subsidize the product development. But we did it in an approach where we would work for 2-3 months freelance, and then we would have 3 to 6 months of runway, just because we're running very lean. It's mainly me full-time taking a tiny salary. That's not worth talking about. So looking back, I think a more reasonable approach would be to go for cash flow first, build up a stream of cash via agency, service, business, whatever, and then reinvest the profits into products. The downside of that approach is basically that you will spend a lot more time working on things you don't necessarily want to work on, like freelance projects or agency projects or whatever. The pros are that you're a much more resilient organization and you don't have to jump from basically one point to the other. Obviously, if you're solo, you can also decide to just stay in your job and do it on the side. But I think, and that's a while ago, I decided to go in full time because I thought that was the only way to make some serious progress. And like I said, these kind of long-term bets that we were taking in the beginning, they're slowly paying off. So I think now it's just a matter of time and a matter of executing the right things. And again, I think that's a good problem to have. All right. So the ugly, as I just said, we only now have 3 months of runway without any extra cash coming into the company, which obviously is never a good position to be in. We have some leads on some more runway, some more money. But I think if we want to be smart about this, instead of, again, doing something on the side just to have 2-3 more months of runway, we're going to look at creating a system around agency work together with our partner Paralect, because now how it used to be is that we would do freelance for a bit, and then I was mainly doing that work, which means that I couldn't work on any of the product stuff, which kind of defeats the purpose, right? So if we can find a setup where I can do the same as now, the management / visionary layer, entrepreneurial layer, or whatever you want to call it, and then work with Paralect, and on the execution side, we can create a more resilient setup that doesn't take my full attention, basically. There'll be some work for me, but it's more around putting the lever in a way where I can maximize my impact without necessarily doing most of the hands-on work myself. And then, yeah, I mean, me working like overtime and having a hard time switching off, obviously, if your mind's racing, it's racing, it's hard to just turn that off. But I think that I can create better habits and routines around this, and I should be able to be in a good position to deal with this. But obviously, I think that's something that is one of the hardest problems to solve for someone that enjoys their work and is actually very passionate about what they do. So I think it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. But for me, I want to have a proper balance around this kind of stuff. So that's why I want to invest more here. And I think that that's stuff that should be happening. All right, so what are action items out of this? Reflecting only is useful if you come up with actionable steps to improve. We're going to require credit cards up front for trials. This has actually already been implemented, and we've shipped it at the end of last month. But I think that was a solid learning out of what we've seen over June. It's just that I've already reflected on this during the month and we're already implemented. We're going to work an agency model with Paralect. It's more around distribution again, right? How can we figure out to attract customers that are unique to our skill set and unique to how we position the offering, and then investing into making that a sustainable funnel. And I think that there's a lot of things to hash out and there's a lot of things to figure out, but I think we can make it happen. And I think we're in a good position to distribute the work in a sustainable but also useful workflow. And then with SwiftBrief, I think one thing we've learned, as I said, was that we're not getting the right kind of customers into the door that are willing to pay for the service that we're offering, or the SaaS. So we need to pivot slightly from just Twitter audience building that Flavio has been doing, our marketing partner, to more targeted cold outreach towards agencies, SEO agencies in, let's say, North America. A lot of the people that have been coming in that aren't willing to pay or just can't afford it are basically from lower income countries, which just kind of makes it tough. I think we were thinking about offering purchase pricing parity, but the problem is that the services that we use under the hood are not that cheap. So all those SEO data points that we need, because we're not just throwing together a couple prompts here and there, are actually not that cheap. And we're obviously can't offer the service under what we pay. I mean, we could, but that doesn't sound very sustainable to me. But yeah, so it's mainly around figuring out a way to get to those customers that can afford it, and then showing the value to them. And also we can continue to improve the product and just make it a lot better. And we're working on that, but it's just for you, so you see that we're not purely focusing on shipping features. We're also pivoting slightly with the marketing strategy, and I think that those two should always go hand in hand, with the distribution taking priority over your features and things like that, right? But obviously the product needs to be valuable in order to be useful. So that's kind of your table stakes. And then distribution is where you can really set yourself apart. All right, that's everything. I'll see you next week. Peace.